Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host, Dave Alexander. Today I'm privileged to have Dr. Reverend Joe Sellepack. He's the Executive Director of the Broome County Council of Churches. And Joe, I will let you introduce our other guests today.
Well, as many of our listeners would know, the Broome County Council of Churches has gone through something of a transition here recently. Ed Blaine, whose picture shows in our intro, has retired from the directorship of CHOW. And we had to go through a long process and long search to come up with a new director. And it was fortunate that we found one in our own backyard. Mike Leahey, who's sitting next to me, is this is his hometown. And he grew up in the Binghamton area and has relocated back here from somewhere up in Boston at some point. But we'll let him tell a little bit about himself. And we just want to say that even though Ed Blaine has left us some fairly big shoes to fill, we're confident that that Mike is going to be able to help us fill them, and not only that, but to expand the program according to his own vision and his own passion. So it's good to introduce you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
So Mike, if you could kind of, maybe tell us a little bit your family, where you've been, what you've done.
Sure.
It'd be nice for everybody to know a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Well, my name is Mike Leahey, and I grew up in the Binghamton area and basically spent most of my young adulthood in the area. And basically we moved out to Boston about 12 years ago, lived there for about 5 years, and then relocated back here about 7 years ago. Okay. I've worked with Catholic Charities locally in the area, program working with runaway and homeless youth. My family consists of my wife Mindy and my daughter Emmy. Okay,
that's good. Okay, as the director of CHOW, I know it's what 3-4 weeks now?
Yeah, 5 weeks. Oh,
yeah, 5 weeks.
5 weeks now.
You know everything now.
So, absolutely.
I mean, how do you see yourself as into this role? Because it's probably totally different than what you've done before.
Sure. I really was interested in this position because of my childhood. Okay. When I grew up, I grew up in extreme poverty. And, one of the things that really excited me about this job was the opportunity to be able to serve the community. Okay. And CHOW does a great job serving the clients that it serves. In the first year, really, my plan is really to learn all the different operations, learn and meet all the different people who support our program, go out and visit our soup kitchens, our pantries, and really learn from the people who have been doing this for a while, and look at all the different events we have and try to figure out ways to, first of all, get our message out, that we're trying to help people in our community, that donations that come into our program stay local and they help support the needy people in our community. And then also try to expand the efficiency of all of our different functions, looking at logistics from our trucks going out to the different programming that we offer throughout the year.
Okay, you mentioned food pantries.
Yes.
Maybe, I know a lot of people don't really understand what a food pantry is and how it gets its food, and maybe what are the requirements for people to actually go to a food pantry.
Sure. We have food pantries located throughout Broome County. We have about 30 of them. So basically, each week, CHOW goes out and it collects donations from the community. We bring the donations back to our warehouse. We ensure that everything is safe, and we sort the donations. Every week, pantries order food, and they come over to our warehouse over on Ustenengo Street, and they pick the donations up. They bring them back to the food pantries. We have 2 people who work in our office, and they make appointments for the clients who call and who are referred from United Way to come over over and to go to the food pantry and pick food up. We utilize a program called Client Choice.
Okay.
So the food pantry stocks the food that is picked up from our warehouse. The clients go in and they look at the food selections that are available, and according to what's available, they're able to pick food out of individual categories:
Okay.
proteins, carbohydrates, dairy products if there are any, sometimes produce, vegetables, things like that. And so that's pretty much how the operation runs.
Okay, so I'm assuming most of the time a food pantry has mainly canned goods, probably.
Mostly.
Because that's something they can stock on the shelves, and
Yep.
versus having meat or whatever that would have to be used immediately.
Absolutely. We don't have a lot of, we don't distribute a lot of
Right.
meat products, but some of our pantries do have refrigerators and
Okay.
freezers, so they're able to take cold products
Okay.
or perishable products.
So the people who, they have to go through a process to be eligible to get the food,
Yes.
so
They go through the United Way.
Way.
Most of our referrals
so
come
they'd
through the
be
United
through
Way.
211.
Yeah, 211. There's a verification process. We collect information about the individual name, how many family members, are they employed or not. Then the 211 basically calls our office and provides the referral, and then we end up calling the person, talking with them, figuring out where they're at geographically, and then trying to line up a pantry that's close to them. So that's pretty much the process for getting a referral for
So
CHOW.
basically, the whole process, you're ensuring that once you call the client, you give them, this is the pantry you're going to go to. They just can't go to some other pantry. I mean, this is the time they go to one pantry, because I can see people saying, okay, we're going to go here, then the next day we're going to try to hit another one, and that's not the case.
Our service is utilized once a month, but we always do the best we can to make sure that we're trying to line people up with the pantries that are closest to them, or sometimes according to need. You know, someone may call and say, I have absolutely no food, and we're trying to fit them in that day. It's just always about trying to meet the client need, and then also trying to line up, you know, if there's a family, trying to make sure we're lining them up with a pantry that has cooling capacity, because they may want dairy, or they may want something else. Another good thing about the 2-on-1 system is that they basically, and our office also, they will suggest other services to clients that they may not know about. So we're always trying to help out
them out all the way around.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, now the other thing, soup kitchens, and I know because I'm involved at Enwell Methodist, we do a community dinner every Monday night. But I know there's a complete list. A person can go every night of the week for a dinner. There are lunch programs, and I know there are some, I think, Saturday meals also. But just kind of so people are aware, I mean, I know for our church, they're open to anybody. There's no restrictions. You come and just show up at the time it's supposed to be there, and you can have the meal.
Absolutely.
And I know these people, it's interesting because you learn the people and you talk to them and they'll tell you, well, we're going so-and-so and we know this week they're serving that. You know, it's kind of interesting to see how they progress every night to knowing where they're going to go for a meal. And I think sometimes I realize, like the people that are coming to our church, a lot of the people, granted, some of them are really need to have the meals, but in some cases it's just the fact that it's someone who's alone and they need that socialization factor because otherwise they never see anybody or anything. So, I mean, it's nice that, and I don't know if there's any consideration that there has to be requirements.
You know, I think that's a wonderful thing. I think it meets several needs in the community. I think there are people that absolutely need that food to survive. I mean, that is, in some cases, that is a person's meal for the day. In other cases, I think the compassion and the companionship that goes along, that is displayed at the soup kitchens is incredible. The dignity in which the food is served, how people are treated, they're wonderful environments. You know, that's really why they're set up, and the people that are there, they care very much. Actually, on my first day, working with CHOW, I went out on the truck and we collected some of the food from some of the local retailers who donate, and it was to the Broome Bounty side of our program, which collects food before it spoils and it delivers it to soup kitchens. And just watching all of the people at the retailers, the care they took in making sure that we had food, the drivers making sure that everything got there. It's very, the places need things by certain times so they can have it prepared. The care people took getting the food into the soup kitchen. It was all just very amazing to see. And the line that was waiting for food that day. We arrived about an hour before they were going to be doing a meal, and there were probably 75 people out there waiting. So it was very touching first day. It really highlighted the importance of this program, and in my mind, it helped me realize that this was really a good choice for me, and just a good work that goes on in the community.
Now, the soup kitchens basically get a majority of their food through Broome Bounty, and I know, like today will be the day that our church actually receives the order form that we fill out and send back in, and it's processed, and we are scheduled for a certain time on Fridays. And I know there's also a group that comes, I think Tuesdays, is it?
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Fridays. So I know maybe if say a church or an organization all of a sudden says, okay, we want to start doing this, providing a meal, is there a process that they have to go through to actually become a site to prepare meals and serve them to people?
Absolutely. There's an application that organization would fill out. They would have to be a 501c3, and there's an inspection process.
And all churches are 501c3s generally, as long as they've gone through the incorporation process. So we just need to make that clear, because that's been a point of confusion at times with some churches thinking, well, this is going to be a long and arduous process, but their denominations often will have already done all the work for them. So.
And then basically we call them up and we discuss like what it is exactly they're interested in doing. How are they interested in serving people? What days are they interested in serving people? So we're trying to learn about each other. We explain how our programming works, and if they feel that it would be something that would work for them, we go out, complete an inspection, talk with them, then we orient them on how to order food once everything's passed, if the inspection passes. If there are a few things that need to be modified, we work with them on how to modify whatever needs to be done to pass the inspection. And then once they're in our system, they have the ability to order food. We also go out and inspect soup kitchens and pantries about once a year to make sure that everything is within compliance.
And one of the things that's important for people to know too is that there is no charge for the food that goes out through Broome Bounty. So you can't use it for a church function or a soup supper, or something that you're going to be charging money for. But it's designed to give away.
And thanks for bringing that point up. That's, because one of the things I'm trying to do, being new in the position, is I've really reached out to other areas and to try to see how they're doing things, and we're really unique in that way that we don't charge for our food. On a recent visit to another food bank, in some cases they're charging 30 cents a pound, up to 38 cents a pound for delivery. So that's a really unique system. They were very surprised that we were able to offer a service. We rely on the community to support, us through donations, so that we're able to provide that service to our pantries. And they discussed the difficulties that some of the pantries and soup kitchens in their area are having transitioning to higher fees, and how difficult that conversation is. And it's just, we're very lucky to have the community support we do. We could not do the work in this community without that support.
Well, it's definitely, an excellent program. And